8 years ago, the Supreme Court ruled narrowly, 5-4 vote, that the Second Amendment, the right to keep and bear arms, applies to individuals, not just militias. But what'll happen if Hillary Clinton gets to appoint the next Supreme Court justice, or maybe 5 justices? Publicly, she says she supports the Second Amendment. But we know what she really plans because at a private fundraiser, she was recorded saying this.
The Supreme Court is wrong on the Second Amendment.
Radio host Dana Lash follows gun rights closely. Dana, Hillary says she supports the Second Amendment, but I suppose she means you have to join a militia.
Yeah, well, and John, thanks for having me. That soundbite that you just played, where she thought that she was protected by the privacy of this being a private fundraiser, that's her first goal if she were to get into the White House and get the Supreme Court, is the overturning of Heller. And on the word militia, you know, I think back to what George Mason, who was one of the founders, he had said, well, I asked then, what are the militia? This is his direct quote, and he says, it is the whole of the people. So back in the day, when we had our founders who were laying the groundwork for all of our natural rights, getting government to recognize this, the militia is every man and woman. There have been so many attempts, John, to bastardize their meaning, but they've been so far unsuccessful. The argument that somehow our rights become anachronistic with the passage of time has yet to hold water.
But 4 justices took the opposite side from you, and among the 5, 1 is gone. This could flip.
It could. You're absolutely right. And in fact, I think that's the biggest threat to looking at a possible Hillary Clinton Supreme Court.
In that leaked audio from that Hillary Clinton fundraiser, Hillary also said this.
The idea that you could have an open carry permit with an AK-47 over your shoulder walking up and down the aisles of a supermarket is just despicable.
Concealed carry could go, but I'll push back at you. Why do people need to be able to carry AK-47s in the aisles of a supermarket?
Well, I don't know anybody that carries an AK-47 in the aisle of a supermarket.
But it's legal.
Well, it did sort of. You have to get your local sheriff. You have to get your sheriff to sign off on it. You have to go through all of these government loopholes. You have to jump through all of these loops. You have to get a special license to get, because this is not, she's conflating a fully automatic firearm with a semi-automatic firearm. Fully automatic firearms are regulated entirely differently than semi-automatic. And it's very difficult actually to go out and get one. Nobody goes into a supermarket with an AK-47. Nobody commits crimes with fully automatic firearms, because most crimes are taking place in urban areas, and people just, gangbangers don't walk around with AK-47s. Though, John, I was just in the supermarket the other day. I was picking up dish detergent, and I had my Glock 19 on my hip, concealed carry. So I've never taken an AK-47 in. But I live in Texas. We have open carry and we have concealed carry. And everyone always said that when open carry was passed in Texas, John,
chaos
the
will
streets,
happen.
it's going to be violent chaos. It didn't happen. It didn't happen. There was no chaos.
And
There's
open carry is
like
now the
that.
law
All
most
of the claims
everywhere.
that they've ever made about this are wholly unsupported.
Will the court be different if Trump's the president?
I don't know. I have more of a hope with Trump than his Supreme Court than I do with Hillary Clinton. We could see concealed carry go away. With the other candidate, we have a hope that that won't happen. So you have total knowledge on one hand, and you have a hope that the worst won't happen with the other.
And you referred to Heller. Heller was the decision that in Washington, D.C., where the Supreme Court said Washington had to get rid of its laws that made it impossible for people to get handguns. The mayor said, people will die.
More handguns in the District of Columbia will only lead to more handgun violence.
But there's been less. There were 185 murders in 2008 when that happened, 109 last year. It's gone down.
And the interesting thing, John, about this is that crimes committed with illegally possessed and illegally used firearms dropped more than just non-firearm used crimes, which I thought was an interesting statistic. And I mean, when you look at every single instance where this has taken place, crime drops.